I'm not a huge fan of Christmas. And I say that predominantly because I feel like it's Halloween's not even over yet and there's already Christmas displays out. Drives me up the wall. Why don't we get another month of Halloween? Right? Why don't we tie in Thanksgiving with Halloween? Why don't we sit there and go, all right, cool. Here's Halloween. Here's the scary stuff. Let's keep it going for another couple of weeks till we get to the bird. And then past that, give us the 3-4 weeks until Christmas. Fine. How about that? Let's extend Halloween and get rid of Christmas time. I just feel we'd have a better time all the way through. Less stress, more fun. Halloween is fun. Thanksgiving, Christmas, not a lot of fun. But one of the best parts about it, and I will fully admit this, happens to be Santa Claus. I do like Santa Claus. It's kind of cool now getting to a point where I get to take my kids to go see Santa Claus and they get their picture taken. And it's also really funny watching like my one daughter cry because she doesn't like anyone who's new. And so it's always it's a fun experience that we're going to laugh at down the road. I feel bad for her in the moment, but when I get back the photos, I'm kind of chuckling because I'm like, yeah, it's embarrassing. And I think that's part of just being a parent. Part and parcel of being a parent is finding times to laugh at your children. But one of the things that I find to be very ridiculous, at least in the story I'm going to talk about here, has everything to do with a mother who dared use the preferred gender pronoun of the pop culture Santa Claus because she apparently has been shamed online for calling Santa Father Christmas because it's not gender neutral. And apparently parents are divided on what's an acceptable name. How about this? It's effing Santa Claus, man. It's Santa Claus. It's been Santa Claus for a long time. I mean, the name takes different names in different cultures, but at least in current predominant pop culture, in the current predominant lexicon of our society as a whole, our vocabulary as a whole, it's Santa Claus. Father Christmas just kind of feels like a cheap British knockoff. But then again, a lot of stuff in Britain feels kind of cheap and knocked off from anywhere. Gets improved upon elsewhere. Now, this is what's going on here. So, a Plymouth mom says she's been ridiculed online for calling Santa Claus Father Christmas as the name is not gender neutral. The local mom says she was shamed on a group of social media for discussing a children's Christmas book and talking about Father Christmas, as Santa is now seen as gender neutral and is many parents' preferred name for the jolly character in the red suit. Now, Santa Claus feels more like a title than a name, right? It does. It feels more like a title because, we know Kris Kringle, right? Or Saint Nick, however you want to call it. That's generally what it gets, boiled down to. And they have the title of Santa Claus. It's like a mantle. It's like a position that they get. So parents are just like, well, why don't we go and just make it gender neutral? Not everything has to be gender neutral. I mean, they might have watched Noel on Disney Plus and been like, now we have a female Santa. But, and again, in the general mindset of society, Santa Claus is a dude. All right. And I know like the Fox contributors like to argue there's a war on Christmas, ladies and gentlemen. This is actually one of those things where I would agree with them on. Because when you start trying to change pop culture and what we've known for a very long time as being a very specific thing, it comes across as kind of shady. And it just feels like you're being activism for activism's sake. Now, the unnamed parent who has a young child said she's been left feeling on edge since the comments picked on her and doesn't want to offend anybody, saying Father Christmas is hurtful to someone. Like, F them. I don't think I'm the only one that's going to say that there too. It's like, oh, I'm sorry. You don't like the name Father Christmas? Well, invent your own. How about that? Do that, right? Invent your own. Now, apparently hundreds of parents have taken to social media to share their views on the gender neutral Santa Claus debate. The mom says, I've just been shamed on a Facebook group for using the name Father Christmas and told that Santa is now seen as gender neutral. I was only referring to the book below, Father Christmas by Raymond Briggs, and it's left me a little confused and on edge about what we are allowed to say. I have a small child who doesn't really want to raise him saying Father Christmas if it's hurtful to someone. Now think about that, right? Now look, it's when online comment sections generally tend to suck. I'm not the only one who's going to say that. A lot of people say that. A lot of people go like, oh yeah, you read YouTube comments? They're terrible. They're god awful. Never read the comments is generally what people say. But on Facebook, it's your local peer group mostly. And so what they say is a grander impact, but also on social media in general. People love to be pompous, right? They like to get all hoity-toity, high and mighty, get out there and be like, yeah, I am fucking better than you. And like, okay, thanks, Anna Kasparian. Sit the F down. And that's what they like to do. They love to do that kind of stuff. So it's always amplified, right? But when like they're personal, they don't care. You could go up to one of them and they'd be like, well, you shouldn't say it. And you go to and say, oh, Father Christmas. Like, yeah, whatever it is, fine. They don't care. It's all pomp. It's all social clout. They just want clout amongst the friends. Nobody wants to be the odd one out telling them all that they're dumb. Especially when you get into the whole mom circle thing. Oh, God. Competition amongst mothers. I mean, it's brutal. That should be a battle royale game. My son's better than yours. Or my kid's better than yours. I don't know. It's just stupid. She now feels like she's like, I don't know how to raise my kid to talk about Christmas. Like, what do we change the name of the book to? What do we contact Raymond Briggs and say, hi, sir, the title of your book is outdated. Father Christmas is now considered a hate crime in the UK. Can you please change it to something more gender non-conforming? Like what's like they Christmas? How about that? She should use the they pronouns. Them Christmas. How about that? Do that. I don't know. It's so stupid. So stupid. But anyway, now it goes on to kind of break down other cultures saying it. It says, while Brits typically say Father Christmas, Americans and those living in the U.S. say Santa Claus. But the question of whether the Jolly Man should have a gender-neutral name seems to be a new debate this year. Arguably, yeah. I mean, that's kind of a new one. There's been the debate over whether or not Santa Claus is white. If you're Megyn Kelly, oh, he's white. And if you're everybody else, you're like, well, I mean, look at where the culture originated from. He's clearly not going to be as, ethno-state ready as some people believe him to be. But it is what it is. Now, certainly the most famous man in the world has lots of different names. While Santa Claus, and Father Christmas are arguably the most common, Saint Nicholas is a preferred name for many families on both sides of the Atlantic. And in Europe, the Jolly Man has various different names. And I think what this is trying to say here is it's like there's no one name for Santa Claus. It could be different ones, but everyone knows Santa Claus is Santa Claus. And everyone knows that generally speaking, this is what Santa Claus looks like. An old, fat, type 2 diabetic who gets out one day a year, but kicks ass on that one day. In France, the name for the man in the red suit is Père Noël, similar to Italy's Babou Natale, which both translate to Father Christmas. In Germany, the typical name is, I'm not even going to, it's Weihnachtsmann. I can't even do that. Christmas man is what it translates to. And in Hungary and Poland, it's Mikuláš or Mikuláš, respectively, both translating as Saint Nick. In Russia, the name Ded Moroz translates to Grandfather Frost. Okay, you know what? I like Grandfather Frost. I think that's a cool name. That's a cool name, right? Yo, what's going on, Grandpa Frost? Like, it just sounds like more chill, more Gen X and type stuff, right? You could picture him with like a mohawk and like a bracer, rocking on like, oh, I don't have a sleigh anymore. I've got this really badass hoverboard with a tow hitch. That's what it is. But apparently local parents are divided. One mom says, Santa's so American, Father Christmas here and will always be Father Christmas. She says, it's always a man. One dad agreed, says, it is Father Christmas. We are English, not American. This gender neutral stuff is way out of hand. And I think we all can agree on that front right there. But another parent disagreed, saying, I must be the only one here who hates Father Christmas. I much prefer Santa or Santa Claus. Plus, it's easier for kids to say. One mom says that Father Christmas is fine. We've always used that in our family. Use what you want. Well, another one added, carry on calling him Father Christmas. It's your choice. Now, and then one person here said that people in the LGBTQ plus community don't seem to be asking for the name to be changed. But I guess my question on that front is like, do they have a point? Does it matter? I guess if you're looking at that, like, maybe, I don't know. Would it be like, I mean, fundamentally is one of those things where you kind of go, well, yeah, I mean, I guess they would be the ones that would be probably the most upset about it, right? So I get that. I understand that. But it's funny too, when people say, use what you want, say what you want. Do you want it to be Santa or Santa Claus, Father Christmas, Saint Nick, Saint Nicholas, Mikuláš, whatever the Grandfather Frost, which is the coolest name. Use what you want. And I think that's fine. I think people fundamentally, linguistically across the world would get that, right? The etymology would be there. People would understand what it means. They would be like, oh, no, I get it, right? Big fat dude beard. Gotcha. But it's the shaming aspect of it that's the issue here, right? It's not necessarily the culture surrounding the name. It's the shaming of the mother who had the audacity to talk about the book Father Christmas and then being shamed by superior or morally superior busybodies on Facebook that are just like, well, you shouldn't call him Father Christmas because it's not gender neutral. You know, my son Roxy disagree. I don't know. It's so dumb. It's so I don't have a problem if like you want Santa Claus to be gender neutral. If in your headcanon he is, you know, a gender neutral otherkin who really, really, really likes anime, that is your choice. But like always, it's kind of like you have to also live with other people. So if you start to attack them over how they want to do that, then you're kind of a effing moron. And I kind of effing hate you. Anyway, I just want to point out that The Last Jedi sucks and anyone who says otherwise is an idiot. Anyway, I'm kidding. But leave me your thoughts on this one. Where do you think? Where do you sit on this debate? I want to hear it. Let me know down in the comments below. I'll talk to you all later. Have yourself a great day. Be sure to like the video. Like it. Like it right now. Type in Xmas in the chat if you made it this far so I know. Have yourself a great one, everybody, and peace out.